So imagine you're a CIO, right? As a CIO, you got to keep up with what's going on in the business around you. So I'm a CIO. My CEO comes up to me and says, Mike, I need you to grow capacity 20% next year. And your budget? Yeah, it's going to be flat. Now, how am I supposed to grow capacity 20%? How am I supposed to add users and applications and content? How do I do that with a flat budget? Right? I can't keep up. Now, we talk a lot in our industry about security, the role of maintenance in terms of vulnerabilities, right? We've seen all kinds of exposures to businesses that are really a board-level discussion. I hope my board doesn't come to me and ask me what our risk is. Because if I'm being honest, I know there's thousands of systems that I haven't patched, that I haven't kept up to date, but I can't do that because I've got 13 lines of business who are all asking me for stuff that they need today. When do I go back and just handle the maintenance stuff? You know, I spend more than 70% of my time and resources just on keeping the lights on, and now you're expecting me to kind of hit all these maintenance things and keep up with what's going on in the industry? I can't keep up. And on top of that, it's not just about the company, right? My CEO, he hired a chief information security officer. Let me be clear, I'm a chief information officer, and you're telling me we need someone else to do security? Why? I would love to do that kind of thing. But I can't, because I got to spend all of my time just making things work. And on top of that, my CEO comes to me and says, we need a chief data officer now. Like, really? Maybe you're not a CIO. Maybe you're a network architect. So as a network architect, I was walking the halls a few months ago. My CEO came up to me, he caught me in the hall and said, Mike, what's our container strategy? I was excited. We do need a container strategy. So I pulled my entire team together. We spent 6 months looking at different vendors. We had 42 first meetings. We had who knows how many second meetings, proof of concepts. We built a lab. We looked at open source software. We read blogs. We looked at podcasts. We put all this together. We did a bake-off. And after the bake-off, we put together a 122-slide summary so we could walk the executives through the entire findings. Now, as I'm getting ready to present this, my CEO comes back from an industry show. He says, Mike, when are we going serverless? Like, serious? I can't keep up. Consider since 2010, we've seen the rise of white box, software-defined networking, NFV. We saw overlays for policy management and then micro-segmentation. We've seen the rise of DevOps, intent-based networking. That's 7 paradigm-shifting changes in the last 7 or 8 years. How do you handle one major change a year? I can't keep up. And that's ignoring, by the way, things like cloud and multi-cloud and all the things that go on in the app dev space. Or maybe you're a network operator, right? And you think through, what does my day look like? So as a network operator, I spend 80% of my time just chasing down issues in the infrastructure, right? Something breaks, I have to go fix it. It's not mean time to repair. It's mean time to not my fault, right? I know I've got a pile of accumulating technical debt that sits behind me. I haven't documented things to the level I know I need to. I haven't taken care of just the good care and feeding of the infrastructure the way I know I have to. But I don't have time for that because I can't keep up with the requirements of my day-to-day. Now my CIO, he might have talked to you about all those servers that have to be patched. Who do you think has to do that work? I'm going to have a great couple of Saturdays coming up as I go and patch these, because how do you get 13 lines of business to agree on a change window? I can't keep up. But it's more than that, right? Every week I have to read a blog or listen to a podcast where somebody tells me software is eating the world. What am I supposed to do with that? You know, I'm a certified engineer. You know who pays for that? I have a basement full of equipment that I paid for myself. I put myself through the training. I pay for my own certifications because that keeps me employed. And now you're telling me that if I don't become a software programmer, that all of a sudden my job is going to be at risk, that I'm going to automate myself out of a position? Like, what do? I'm not in college anymore. I'm 42, I've got a couple of kids. Like, I don't have time to go back, learn a new language, rediscover myself, and figure it all out, right? I can't keep up. Now, there's a couple important points about these words, right? The notion of keeping up, it's all about movement. It's not about cost anymore. Our industry is really about how do we keep pace with change. And as an industry, we've gotten this wrong. Historically, we've looked at the problem as, how do I produce a new protocol, a new technology? How do I introduce something that allows us to build more capability into our infrastructure? That's not the problem we have to solve. The problem we fundamentally have to solve is, how do we keep up? In our rush to create new solutions, we've actually made it more difficult because we've made environments more complex, more difficult to maneuver, essentially harder to keep up. At Juniper, we're focused on really helping you keep up. Whether you're a CIO, a network architect, a network operator, anyone in between, what we're trying to do is allow you to spend more time focused on the things that you need so you can keep pace in an industry that's moving faster than ever before. This is about dealing with complexity. At Juniper, we're using our engineering skill to drive complexity out. It's about engineering simplicity so that you can keep up.